Some houses are born haunted, others become that way. But this house, the house that whispers, was different. It didn't just haunt its visitors, it followed them home. Nestled in the middle of nowhere, on the outskirts of a dense forest, there stood an ancient, crumbling mansion that had been abandoned for over a century. No one knew why it had been deserted so suddenly, but rumors spoke of the unspeakable tragedies that had taken place within its decaying walls. Locals called it the House That Whispers because, on certain moonless nights, passers-by claimed to hear faint, ghostly voices emanating from its dark windows. When Ellie and her three friends, Mark, Tasha, and Peter, heard about the house, it was irresistible. They were city kids, thrill seekers, and, above all, skeptics. A haunted mansion, whispers in the night. It was too cliche, too absurd to believe. So, one late autumn evening, armed with flashlights, sleeping bags, and a single bottle of whiskey for courage, they decided to spend the night there. The arrival. The air grew colder as they drove closer to the mansion. The forest surrounding the property seemed unnaturally dark, the skeletal trees leaning over the road like twisted fingers. When they finally reached the house, the sight of it made them pause. The mansion was massive but decrepit, its windows shattered and its roof sagging. Ivy crept up the walls, choking the building like a parasite. The front door was slightly ajar, creaking softly in the breeze. Tasha shivered and joked, "Well, at least we know the ghosts are polite. They left the door open for us." "Stop it," Ellie snapped, trying to mask her own unease. "It's just an old house. Let's go." Inside, the air was heavy, stale, with the scent of mildew and rot. Their footsteps echoed on the dusty wooden floors as they explored. The walls were lined with faded torn wallpaper, and the furniture was draped with dusty sheets. The house felt alive in a way none of them could articulate, like it was watching them. The first sign. As the night fell, the group settled into what must have once been the grand parlor. They lit a small lantern, which cast flickering shadows on the walls. The whiskey helped loosen their nerves, and soon they were laughing and telling ghost stories of their own. That's when they first heard it. A faint whisper. It was subtle, almost imperceptible, but it made everyone freeze. "Did you hear that?" Mark whispered, his voice barely audible. "Hear what?" Peter asked, though his eyes darted nervously toward the dark hallway. "Nothing," Ellie said quickly, forcing a laugh. "It's just the wind. This place is old. Wood creaks, wind howls. Don't get jumpy." But as the night dragged on, the whispers grew louder, more distinct. At first, it sounded like gibberish, but soon they realized the voices were murmuring their names. Ellie, Mark, Tasha, Peter. The descent. Around midnight, Tasha decided she'd had enough. "This isn't funny anymore," she said, her voice trembling. "Who's doing that? Is this some prank? Did you plant speakers or something?" But no one was laughing. The fear on their faces was genuine. "We're all here," Peter said, his voice tight. "No one's doing anything." That's when the whispers turned into laughter, cold, mocking, and disembodied. It seemed to echo from every corner of the room surrounding them. Ellie gripped her flashlight and stood. "We're leaving. Now." But as they gathered their things, the front door slammed shut with a deafening bang. Tasha screamed, and Peter ran to the door, yanking on the handle. It wouldn't budge. The windows, too, were sealed, though they had been broken and open earlier. The laughter stopped abruptly, leaving a deafening silence. Then the floorboards creaked, one deliberate step at a time, coming closer. The Discovery panic took over. They bolted upstairs, reasoning that if they could find a window on the second floor, they could jump out. The staircase groaned under their weight, but they made it to the landing. The second floor was worse, colder, darker, and suffused with the unmistakable scent of decay. As they wandered through the maze like corridors, they stumbled upon a room that looked out of place. It was pristine, untouched by time, with a large four-poster bed and an ornate vanity. A journal sat open on the vanity's surface. Ellie picked it up, her hands trembling. The entries were written in a neat, elegant hand, chronicling the life of a woman named Margaret Blackwell. The entries grew more frantic as they progressed, talking of dark shadows, whispers in the night, and something waiting in the walls. The last entry read, "I can feel it watching me. It wants me to stay. It won't let me leave." As Ellie read the final line aloud, the door slammed shut, trapping them inside. The entity. The whispers returned, louder and angrier. The walls seemed to pulse, the floral wallpaper peeling away to reveal something black and oozing underneath.